I always gave people a pedestal, even when they didn't deserve it. I watered myself down, made myself smaller, more polite, just to make others feel comfortable. But I got tired of it. I was exhausted from making space for everyone else but me. So I stopped dimming my light. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you how that changed my life. Hey Royal Family, welcome to the front row with myself, Rowanna Woodley. And as you can see, it's a new set because I'm very excited to announce a new series that I'm launching today that's going to run for 6 weeks. And I'm going to be posting twice a week on YouTube. In the series, I'm going to be walking through the rough moments and the lessons that came from those rough moments, the sour lemons that life threw at me, and the sweet honey lessons that I learned from them. I'll be posting these episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm hoping that this series is going to ignite something in you to have hope and to believe in the midst of the sourness, there is the honey that's going to come from it. This series is to help you feel empowered, give you hope. This series is called Lemon and Honey. I always tried to make other people feel comfortable. I would dim my light, even if it meant making myself feel uncomfortable. Growing up, I was always surrounded by people who would make subtle comments that didn't make me feel good. Cousins would insult me and mask it as a joke, but deep inside me, I felt hurt. Friends would never check in on me or make time for me unless I was the one that initiated contact. Colleagues at work would take my kindness and over-delivery for granted. I was praised when I was quiet, agreeable, and small. So I learned to be small. But at some point, I realized I was the one that was getting left behind. I was the one that was not growing. I was the one that was sitting depressed and unhappy. I was putting everyone else's comfort before myself, and I wasn't winning at life. And all that did was just make me more and more invisible. It took me years to figure it out. I was always someone that would pick up all my friends and take them out and then drop them all off at their homes and then go home. And I realized when my car wasn't working that not a single person called me to fetch me, and they all had cars. Not a single person called me to check up on me. And then when I did a test to see how many people actually care, I stopped calling everyone and I stopped organizing these outings, and nobody called me back. Nobody organized anything, or nobody invited me. That didn't feel great, and I didn't want to feel that way again. With my cousins, the same thing happened. I would be nice and warm and always wanting to see them and always attending family functions, only to be insulted and made like a fool. And I would come home feeling depressed and not good about myself. And I didn't realize that all of these emotions I was feeling was toxic and it was not good for me. I just went with the flow and it was my normal until I started to read more and I started to expose myself to positive content, that I realized that I actually don't want to be around these people. And as I slowly disengaged from toxicity, I saw a shift in the way I behaved. I started to feel happier and I started to feel better about myself. I was tired of disappearing in rooms. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be that girl. So I did these 4 things. The first thing I did was to put myself first, something I had never done before. I stopped calling it selfish and I called it survival. If I wasn't well mentally, emotionally, or physically, everything else suffered. So I needed to make sure that my wellness was taken care of. So I stopped shrinking for others and I started expanding for myself. And that made all the difference. Before saying yes to others, I would stop and ask myself, what does that do for me? If I say yes to this, will it benefit me? And if that answer was no, then I was going to say no to it. Now, I wasn't perfect. There were moments that I still went to things that I shouldn't have gone to. But the more I did that and I didn't listen to my intuition, it just pushed me in the direction to choose myself more. And that journey is still going on. I'm still figuring out how to put myself first in situations, because that is self-care. The second thing I did was to trust my own voice. I used to treat everyone's opinion as gold, and my opinion wouldn't be as important. Sometimes I do it now when I'm researching topics about my craft and I listen to other people. I'm getting information from them and it's great, but I get into this thinking of perhaps their idea is more superior to mine, and I have to remind myself that my voice is a trusted voice because I've put in the work to be trusted, and what I have to say and what I have to think matters. In the past, when someone didn't like something that I did, I would try my best to change that. If they teased me about my body, I would try my best to look different or dress like them. I didn't want to feel awkward. I didn't want to feel like an outcast. So because of desperately wanting to belong, I chose to go against what I thought was right for me. Now I've learned how to listen and tweak where I think it's best. Constructive criticism is great and I welcome it, but that doesn't mean I have to change everything about myself because someone else thinks so. I can use it as a guide for my self-improvement, but it doesn't have to be the blueprint. I always ask when someone says something to me, does it align to who I am? Does it align with my core values? Does it make me feel happy? Does it make me feel like I should grow? And if it is not positive, then I don't take that advice and I try and listen to what I really want and what I think is right for me. And it's hard to do that because we are surrounded by people with opinions and we're surrounded with social media of perfect people all over the world that are depicting themselves in such a way. So it's hard because you're always competing with the next person. But I realized if you're always competing with someone else, you're never truly being who you are. And who I am is really great because there's nobody like me. And the more I started to get comfortable with that concept, the more I started to listen to myself more and trust myself more. Which leads me to the third thing that I did, which is not comparing myself to others. Shrinking often comes from the fear of being judged. But when I realized that my only real competition was myself, I felt free. I felt like I could spread my wings and fly. Instead of comparing myself to someone else who had a different upbringing, who has a different set of needs, who is a different personality, I started to compare myself with yesterday because there was a common denominator there. It's the same person. I stopped focusing on other people, other content creators, everyone on the outside, and I started to look inwards and just focused on my own lane. I reminded myself, I'm comfortable and okay and proud of being me. Even if someone else is uncomfortable with me or irritated about who I am, that's their problem. I need to be happy with who I am. And it starts with me internalizing and doing the work with myself. And the last thing I did, which was the game changer in my life, was to remove people who benefited from the old row. The people that were toxic, the people that loved the silenced row, the small row, the row that didn't want to grow and expand her wings. And when I removed myself from those toxic people, my life got better. My life seemed easier. I felt happier and I had more growth and ambition to be who I truly needed to be. And some people only love the version of you that they can control, the quiet, easy person that's submissive. The moment I stepped out of those boundaries, they disappeared because they didn't like that version of me. And I let them go with peace because where I'm going, they're not ready to come with me. And that's not a loss, that's clarity. I'm glad that I had the experience with them because it gave me the lessons that I needed and the experience that I needed to be who I am today. So if you've been shrinking yourself and dimming your light to suit the people that you're around, to fit in, to be part of the masses, please hear this. You don't need to apologize for taking up space. Take up as much space as you need because you deserve that space. You are worthy and you are here for a reason. You are here to live your highest, truest, best version of yourself. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are not too much. You are just right. You were just in the wrong room with people who just could not handle your brightness. Let this be your sign to stop dimming your light and stand up and flourish. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Drop a heart if you want to reclaim your space. I thank you so much for choosing the front row, and I'm so excited about this series, Lemon and Honey, where we talk about the sour moments of life that turned into a honey lesson. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.